Face front, true believers, a new Spider-Man game is here. And is it better than the crap that has plagued our consoles for the past 4 years? Well, I have to say, hell yes. So here it is, my review of Spider-Man Shattered Dimensions. Let's start things off with the story. The game opens in what's called the Amazing Dimension, with Stan Lee giving an excellent voiceover to Mysterio breaking into the Empire State University Museum, attempting to steal a mystical tablet called the Tablet of Order and Chaos. He is quickly apprehended by Spider-Man, who accidentally shatters the tablet, and it's scattered across time and space. However, one piece is left to Mysterio. He makes off with it, and then Madam Web shows up, telling Spider-Man that she has gathered the troops of 3 other Spider-Men whose dimensions have been affected by this shatter. So she tells him that he has to find each piece, and that it's probably been taken by an evildoer of each dimension. So, basically what that says is, each Spider-Man has to deal with a villain, and when they beat them, they get the tablet piece, and that's about that. That's the extent of the story. The whole thing is just trying to put the tablet back together. Does it work? Yes, it does pull you along, and it feels like a comic book plot, and something Stan Lee would definitely come up with. But again, I don't think it really justifies, it's not very complicated, which I think is good, but it leaves you wanting for a little more interaction between the characters, especially Madam Web and the 4 other Spider-Men. So, again, I think it leaves you wishing for a little more, but it gets you there. In my opinion, the main thing that drives you along is the different things you get and the different things you unlock as you go through stages. Each time you complete something called the challenge, you get a new upgrade, or you get something called Spider Essence, which allows you to spend on upgrades, new character suits, bios, and things like that. And I think that's very addicting. And maybe if the story was a little bit better, you probably wouldn't notice it as much, but since the story's kind of weak, you notice these challenges a lot more, and I think it actually makes it a little more addicting. So, well done there. Now, there are 4 different dimensions in this game, which you play as 4 different Spider-Men. And this is basically the whole draw of it, so what do I think of that? Well, yeah, it's gimmicky, but it's fucking fun. So, let's break each category of review down by dimension. Let's start off with the Amazing Dimension. This dimension is more like the classic Spider-Man. He wears the red and blue suit, and it's more of a comic book look. All the villains look like they should, classic, and it plays a lot more like web combat. Like, he uses his webs to do more things, like he'll make hammers out of them, or boxing gloves or something, and I think that's really cool. And I think it's cool they came up with that, because this is the more over-the-top dimension. Spider-Man is voiced by Neil Patrick Harris, a great choice. He really brings some oomph to the voice, and he's funny and he's determined, and that's what Spider-Man should be. So, the Amazing Dimension is very well done. However, it comes with a price. The comic book look has a lot of graphical hiccups. Things, blur in and out, and it takes a while for something to look good, and it pop in and pop out, and sometimes it really takes you out of it and makes you laugh a little bit. And the most pain-stalking glitch I've ever encountered in a game occurs in the last time you play in the Amazing Dimension, and I just wanted to punch the developer in the face. Like, why didn't you fix that before you released the goddamn thing? And that's what happens, my friends, when you rush out a game. So, moving on. Spider-Man Noir. A relatively new comic and a really great dimension. A really great idea. Basically, this is a more stealthy, more dark Spider-Man. He wears a lot darker clothes. He uses stealth tactics to take down his enemies, and I think it works. I think it works well. Spider-Man should be, it's what you would think when you come to Spider-Man. It's different. It's a lot different than the Amazing Dimension, which is more like just beating the crap out of everybody. This is more you got to carefully plan who you're going to take down first and which civilian you're going to save first, and it feels pretty gratifying when you take down someone, web them up, and cocoon them. It's pretty great, but it extremely, excruciatingly copies Batman Arkham Asylum, which is probably the reason why they made this game, trying to outdo that. They don't do it here. It's a little bit more, the stealth system is not as good. It's not as gratifying when you take someone down. Again, I said it is, but it's not as cool. it feels really similar to that, and I don't think it works as well. One major problem, which was not as big of a problem in Batman Arkham Asylum as it is in this, is when someone spots you, you're supposed to crawl around in the shadows until they lose you. Fine. Now, there's something called last spot they saw you, where a spider appears on the wall, and that's where they're going to look for you, which is fine, it works fine, but the way to get out of it when they spot you is just to crawl around in the shadows, which could be 2 feet away from where they spot you, and then they lost you. They're like, oh, where'd he go? That is so funnily stupid. And you just laugh at him. I'm like, dude, I'm right here. Shoot me, come on. And I think it's funny, and it kind of, it works. So Spider-Man Noir, the look of again, the look of it is very 1930s. Everything's dark. Street lights flicker on and off. It has kind of a black and white look, especially when you're crawling around in the shadows. But one major problem, which is again copied from Batman Arkham Asylum, is you have something called spider. Spider sense is a major. Everyone knows that. Oh, my spider sense is tingling. Well, in the Noir dimension, you use it to look through walls and see where your enemies are. You can use that in every other dimension, but it's pointless except in this one. And when you're supposed to see the colors fading in and out, when you're going in and out of shadows, it's a big problem, because in the spider sense vision, you can't tell that. Everything's like a very similar color tone, and you can't tell what's black and white and what's color. That causes a big problem. But again, this dimension is, it's probably the most different of the three. This one, you're really not beating the crap out of people, even though it does have its moments. The best thing about this dimension is the takes they have on the villains, like Goblin, Hammerhead, and Vulture, all very scarily blending into the 1930s. Very good, well done. So, Spider-Man 2099, from the distant past to the distant future. Now, this is the only Spider-Man that's not Peter Parker. His name is Miguel O'Hara, and you know that if you read the Spider-Man 2099 comics, and every villain has a futuristic update, and is more like it's very good. My only problem with this dimension is the graphics again, which are all bright and vibrant, and they look a little bit more realistic than the other dimensions. They're a little bit too bright for my taste. Like, you really can't distinguish figures when you're looking just dead ahead, and it's kind of blinding and annoying. But otherwise, it's probably got the best look, and it's got a great detail on Spidey's costume, and Spidey's costume in the 2099 universe is like a kind of nano suit, so there's like bright colors going up and down the costume. It looks really cool, and everything is retained from the comics, so again, well done there. Final Dimensions Ultimate Spider-Man is probably my favorite, but only because of the black suit. So they cheated out of this. They didn't want to make it the same as the Amazing Dimension, which if they just put the normal Spidey suit on him, it would be. But it gets changed up with something called the Rage Meter, and you beat the crap out of people, and then you get a rage boost. And it works well, but it gets very repetitive. And I think this is what they were trying to avoid by making 4 dimensions, is making it repetitive. But I think they kind of failed at it, like if in the Ultimate Spider-Man universe especially, because you're basically just beating the crap out of people. That's about it. I really like Deadpool as an addition in that. He's really funny, and he's voiced by Nolan North, who did Uncharted 2 and Dark Void. He also voiced Deadpool in the animated Hulk vs. Wolverine movie, so he was a good choice. Otherwise, using the black suit is a little bit different in the Ultimate Universe. It's more like a creature itself, and it has tendrils and everything. And one boss in particular, that's a big problem for Spidey, but I'm not going to give that away. So, all in all, impressions on the game. Cutting to the chase. This is, by far, one of the best Spider-Man games since Spider-Man 2. It's better than Spider-Man 3, Spider-Man Friend or Foe, or Web of Shadows. It trumps them all. It's not quite as good as Batman Arkham Asylum was to Batman games. It kind of takes in a little bit too much to really, excel at something. And I think that's important in game design. You have to pick a focus, and really, if you excel at that, you'll be successful. But otherwise, well done, Beanox. Well done, Activision. I can't believe I'm saying that. But well done. I really enjoyed this game. I definitely recommend picking it up. So, overall score, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. Thanks for watching. Zazubaar out.